This is a case where the former district attorney in New York decided not to bring it. This is also a situation where the Federal Election Commission said there was nothing to see here. So for
Facts.
Alvin Bragg to try to dig out some case so he can get his name ID up so he could potentially run for the governor of New York at some point in the future is outrageous, and it's a misuse of the justice system in our country. Compare that with the other fact that crimes in New York go to this day are not prosecuted, where New Yorkers are being assaulted, they're being robbed, and people are being let go immediately. They're not bringing charges, yet he
Facts.
finds time to bring this blatant political prosecution against a former president. And the only reason is because, in my view, in the same view of the president, number one, Alvin Bragg wants to make himself more important politically. But number two, that this is a coordination from the Democrat Party and Joe Biden, because the Biden administration has been a disaster on every front, and they can't beat Donald Trump in a fair political fight. So they're using the justice system to go after President Trump.
I agree 1000% with Byron Donalds and what he had to say there. Right? And I think most Americans understand that this is total BS. Totally bogus. Complete and utter trash. Right? Oh, I'm going to go after this guy because he allegedly paid some chick to stay quiet about some sexual encounter alleged that they had. What? Huh? When you just heard Byron say, this was looked into previously by Bragg's predecessor. And no, nothing. No, there's nothing here. But then Alvin Bragg, and this is the crazy thing about this whole situation. And some of my legal experts I'm gonna need y'all to help me out with this one. If this has been looked into twice by two separate, groups of individuals, right? Which it has previously before Alvin Bragg, one of them being his predecessor, right? How in the world is this a case right now? That's just crazy to me. Like that shouldn't even be a thing. Like it's already been looked into, but then now all of a sudden, oh wait. No, not only have I found something, but I've turned those things which would have been misdemeanors into felonies somehow, some kind of way. And I forgot how many of them that he said that there were. It's just that one is mind-boggling. Like this should have been laughed out of a court. Laughed out of a court.
You think you're going to win this case ultimately?
I think if the jury decides based on the facts and the law, there's no way that President Trump can be convicted.
Does the legal team agree that former President Trump should take the stand?
I think that's going to be a question for President Trump and the trial team based on how the trial goes. A defendant obviously has every right to take the stand in his own defense. He also has every right not to. And the prosecution is not allowed to try to get the jury to form any inference based on a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, what do you personally think? Do you think he should get up there?
Well, as one of his attorneys, my personal view really isn't in question
What's
here.
your legal advice to me?
I would say that, I think President Trump would be a very compelling witness in this case. I think his testimony would be able to explain, as other witnesses' testimony would, that he did nothing wrong here.
You were...
Yeah, exactly. And for anyone questioning whether or not this is, because I know that's the thing that a lot of people on the left try to push. Oh, well, he committed these crimes. This isn't, political. It's most definitely political. When you have individuals running for office that are campaigning, right, on getting Trump, bragging about going after Donald Trump, talking about how they're going to be a pain in his side once they get in office, that is a problem. That is a problem. Especially in a time and a place where you have, criminals roaming your streets, criminals who beat up police officers and you let them walk free to flip off the cameras, right? And to go on and commit more crimes. You got random women getting punched in the face, which I made a video about that a couple of weeks ago. Just women just minding their own business, walking down the street, walking down the sidewalk, just getting decked. Just absolutely decked. Right in the face. This is your city. But you're going after Trump? I mean, if that isn't clearly and obviously, political, then I don't know what is. When have you ever seen any political individual gone after the way that Trump is being gone after? Never seen it, right? Never seen it. But, even if all that isn't convincing, well, maybe this video will convince you. Check it out.
We know there's a Trump investigation. I have investigated Trump and his children and held them accountable for their misconduct with the Trump Foundation.
There were experts on every network scratching their heads and asking, what is he being charged with?
I also sued the Trump administration more than 100 times for DACA, the travel ban, separation of children from their families at the border. So I know that work. I know how to follow the facts and hold people in power accountable.
I know a lot of judges that would have been not too pleased to receive an indictment like this and would have said, what the heck is this? I mean, what are you alleging? And Bragg just sort of waved it off and said, I don't have to really say.
Nobody got harmed by this. The state wasn't deprived of any tax revenue.
There are substantial threshold legal questions here, and this case could collapse.
The next Manhattan District Attorney is going to inherit that investigation, which, could be the most important investigation in the history of the country.
It's very hard to come up with any rationale for what Bragg has been doing here.
We shouldn't be regarding Alvin Bragg as a law enforcement official. We should be regarding him as what he is, which is an elected progressive Democrat who campaigned on two things: basically not enforcing the law, and number two, using the power of his office to go after one guy, Donald Trump.
I'm the candidate in the race who has the experience with Donald Trump. I was the chief deputy in the Attorney General's office. We sued the Trump administration over 100 times. I believe we have to hold them accountable.
The goal of all of these things is to interfere in an election. That should never be happening in the United States of America. Yet another Marxist communist attempt to change our country for the worst. It's terrifying.
And Americans see this for what it is, an abuse of our legal system meant to interfere in the presidential election. But polls show it's backfiring, only solidifying Trump's support. And voters see him as a victim of unscrupulous political enemies who are weaponizing the laws.
1,000%. It's only helped them become stronger. It's only helped them become stronger. And, I think part of their strategy with this was to break him, was to make him, what's the saying? Scream uncle, right? Was to make him just bow out and give up. But I've got this story from Dana White that I want you guys to hear about Trump's resiliency. This isn't a guy who's going to give up. This isn't a guy who is going to scream uncle. He's not that type of guy.
To sum him up, this is the kind of guy that, you want to talk about a fighter? This is the most resilient human being I've ever met. If you see the shit that this guy's going through publicly every day, and I'll call him on the phone as a friend and be like, hey, you good? How you doing? Unfazed, like nothing's going on. And he'll start talking to me about this and that and all this other shit. One time, there's only been one time, I've never talked about this publicly, but one time I called him and he was not good. He was a mess, and I've never heard him like that, and I've never seen him like that when Ivana died. Obviously, as soon as I heard it, I reached out, and I have never. Look at all the stuff that's gone on with Trump, all the bad stuff that they say. They're trying to attack him. They're trying to ruin him. unfazed. I called him that day, and this is the first time I've ever seen that guy busted up and not good.
Well, that says something that's the only time.
100%.
That guy is, walking through the fire.
He does not get rattled. He will walk through fire. He's an absolute savage.
Savage. And I agree. That says a lot about him. That's the only time he's been fazed by anything. And we can all see that this man is walking through fire right now. Walking through fire. Walking through a situation where people are trying to put him in prison for the rest of his natural life. Where he's being attacked by the establishment at every single turn. He's walking through fire, and yet he remains unfazed. Savage mode. Savage mode. I love it. That is the kind of guy or gal, I don't care. That is the kind of person, right, that I want to be leading the country that I live in. Someone who can walk through fire and be unfazed, right? Someone who is just a stone cold savage. Strong. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. As always, you guys let me know your thoughts, your opinions on this in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. It's right up over there. Click that button if you are not subscribed. And if you are subscribed, check out that video right over there. You might like it. Peace and love. I'm out.